Good morning. Hi. Let's talk about 6 countries that I think Black people who are interested in making an exodus, right? Black people who are interested in the next Black migration may want to skip. On this channel, we talk all the time about countries that Black women and where Black women and Black families feel welcome, countries where Black women and Black families love. Today, let's talk about some countries to avoid. Okay, that's what I would like to do with you this morning. Hi, my name is Stephanie Perry. I'm the creator of House Sitter School and the co-creator of Exodus Summit. And on this channel, I help Black women take sabbaticals and career breaks. I help Black women move abroad. I help Black women bop around the world. If these things sound good to you, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'll wait. Thank you. That's good. This is good. I usually don't drink coffee on camera because every time I take a sip of coffee, I'm like, this is good. Let me get together. Subscribe, please. Turn on notifications, please, so that you'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live with my friends. Hey, friends. Thank you. Thea Light Weaver says my hair is cute. Thank you. I have I'm the keynote speaker today at the Wealthy Black Women Summit. So I got my hair and makeup on. This is not what I'm going to wear this evening, but I do have my hair and makeup done. And we'll see. Hopefully it'll last me to the time. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, girl, please. Good morning, Abrea Higgins. Hey. Good morning, House Sitting Retiree. Good morning, Erica Dinero TV. Good morning, CL Prophet. Good morning, Queen 782. Hi. Hello, family. Good morning, Helen Ellis. Good morning, Darlene. Hi, friends. Good morning. Please take a second to say hi in the chat. If you're watching over on Instagram, this is my first time trying to simultaneous live stream. I'm here on Instagram so that you'll know that I'm live on YouTube. I would prefer if you would come over to YouTube because it's easier to see your comments, right? You see, I can see all the YouTube comments right here. I don't know what on Instagram. I think you can see me putting these comments on the screen. It's easier to do. Thank you. Easier to do from YouTube. So if you're watching me over on Instagram, come over to YouTube. My YouTube channel is Stephanie Perry. I'm going to stop the Instagram in just a couple of minutes because it's hard to, I can only concentrate on so many things. Okay, so the 6 countries that I think you may want to avoid on your exodus are not 6 countries, it's 6 categories. Each category has at least one country, but some of these categories are going to have multiple countries. But we're going to talk about 6 categories to avoid. I'm going to give you some caveats before we get started, okay? Disclaimers. Number 1 disclaimer, make your own decisions. This is your life. Live your life, okay? I'm going to give you my opinions. A thing about me, I'm going to give you my opinions. But you've got to live your life. Make your own decisions. Use this as a piece of data, not as the end-all be-all decision maker for you and your family and your future, okay? I picked Bogota, Colombia. Some of you would hate with a capital H, Bogota, right? You have to wear a light jacket. It's very cloudy, lots of clouds, right? Pick based on your criteria. I'm just telling you some things. We're going to talk through these things together, okay? Make your own decisions. Number 2, this is not an exhaustive list. So like I said, we're going to talk through at least 6 categories that I think mean that these are countries you want to at least give a critical eye to, if not cross off of your list. But each category is not an exhaustive list. Number 3, third disclaimer. Okay. Every single reason on this list that I think you may want to not move to this particular country is also a reason that you'll want to leave the United States. Okay. The reasons on this list include reputation of anti-Blackness, no reparations to Aboriginal people and current mistreatment of its Aboriginal people, Nazi sympathizing leaders, rights rollbacks, soaring inflation, infrastructure problems, okay? All of these are reasons that we're going to take a critical eye to certain countries and say, maybe that's not the right place for you to move. But all of these together apply to the United States. All of these 6 reasons are reasons among others, that I think you should be considering leaving the United States, that I think you and your family should have an exit plan. Okay, so let's start from there. Let's start with that understanding. The understanding is these places, some of these places still are better than the United States. And therefore, you should also be planning your exodus from the United States. Okay, so I said good morning. I gave you the list, the preliminary list. Now we can just walk through things. Okay, so I'm going to end the Instagram live here. I think I know how to do that. So please, Instagram friends, come over to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Stephanie Perry. I'm going to do things. I'm going to end the Instagram live, and I got to get my cord to plug in my laptop. Y'all talk amongst yourselves while I do this. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I was so busy in hair and makeup, forgot to plug in my computer. Okay, so I think I know how to exit the live. Or maybe I don't. I don't really know how to end the Instagram live. Don't and remove. You're live, remove. Remove this destination, remove. Okay. Save changes. Okay, we're still together. Thanks, YouTube friends. Okay, and thank you for saying hi to each other. So yeah, hey, everything looks so much smaller than before. Is it my eyes? Is it StreamYard? There we go. Did we go through the list? So let's go through the 6 reasons, and then we'll go through the individual countries or we'll go through a country on each list, okay? So 6 reasons to avoid a particular country when you're doing your exodus planning, right? When you're planning your great migration, your Black migration from the United States, here are 6 reasons to avoid a particular place. Anti-Blackness, reputation for anti-Blackness, no reparations to their Aboriginal people, and continuing ongoing mistreatment of their Aboriginal people. Nazi sympathizing leaders, leadership who sympathizes with Nazis. Rights rollbacks is number 4. They're actively rolling back rights for people. Number 5, soaring inflation. Number 6, infrastructure problems. Okay, so that's the list of 6. Number 1 on my list today is for anti-Blackness reputation. This came from a post inside of the Exodus Summit community. I'm putting Egypt, the first country I'm putting on here is a country I've never been to. Most of the countries we're going to talk about, let's see, maybe half and half, halfsies. More than half of the countries we're going to talk about today that I'm like, I would avoid it. More than half of them are countries that I've been to. Egypt is not a country I've been to, but listen, I've been in the travel space long enough and the move abroad space long enough to know that that they're anti-Black, okay? So I made a video, I pre-recorded a video and put it up on this channel just this week, anti-Blackness. If anti-Blackness is everywhere, why are we even leaving the country? There's not the same amount of anti-Blackness everywhere. And there's not anti-Blackness everywhere. There's white supremacy everywhere. There's white supremacist ideologies everywhere. Everywhere. I don't care. Everywhere believes white is superior, right? But anti-Blackness everywhere, no, because some places they don't even really have Black people like that. They don't really care about Black people, right? They not think about Black people one way or another. Their laws and their rules and their regulations were not put in place to treat Black people as less than human, right? So no, anti-Blackness is not everywhere. And I think when people say that, they're just people who haven't been anywhere, right? Because what I know is, as most Black people, as soon as they step foot outside of the United States, they're like, oh, this is so nice. Everybody's just minding their business. Nobody calls the cops on you for doing regular things like being in a park. Oh, that's what this feels like, right? Anti-Blackness is everywhere. I assume if you say anti-Blackness is everywhere as a blanket statement, you haven't been anywhere. Okay, that's my assumption of you. And so, But anti-Blackness is some places, and Egypt is one of them places. Okay, let me get back to the point. But Egypt is one of them places. I don't know of a Black woman in particular who would say she felt like she could do things and navigate Egypt where alone, right? Most Black women, even Rashida, who's done a whole bunch of travel, right? Even Rashida was like, I wouldn't navigate that alone without a man, like without a man. So not only anti-Black, but they treat women funny too. Anybody have any comments about Egypt? From someone who's been there. How about that? From someone who's been there. Let's do that. I saw a comment. In Egypt, I would say more so in the north towards Aswan, not so much. Can you, J Tony 8352, can you tell us, are you saying anti-Blackness in the north and towards Aswan, not so much? Or can you say you're safe to be in the north and towards Aswan, it's worse? Can you type, do you mind typing that one more time, please? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Egypt is hideous. Diamond Empress just says, Egypt is hideous. All right. And Erica De Niro TV, Egypt is just a visit. You want to see the pyramids? Go to the pyramids. Go see it. I don't know that we want to park ourselves. We're not parking ourselves. We're moving. Even after we move, we can move again. I don't know if we want to spend our time and money and effort in a place that just has that kind of reputation, right? So I started with Egypt, even though it's a place I haven't been to. I think it's only one of two places on this whole list that I haven't been to. Okay. Danica, hi, said, Gilmer says, I've been to Egypt. I had a great experience. I would not like to live there. Okay. Was that because of this anti-Blackness or because of anti-woman stuff, misogyny, or was it something else? And, y'all can share or not share as much as you want. Okay. Josette says Aswan is where the Black people are. Okay. But does that mean Aswan is where we would like to live? There are plenty of places where Black people are, where anti-Blackness is rampant, right? Joy Spencer was there in 2019, did not feel safe. Joy Spence. Sorry, Joy. Hi. All right. Deidre. Hi, Deidre Johnson. I've been to Egypt twice, had a wonderful experience, but was hosted and was not on my own. I would never go solo. Okay. I think it's unanimous. Okay. So that's for you. If you're in the Exodus Summit community and you posted about Egypt and nobody responded, friend, that's why. Okay. That's why. I'll go back and make sure I leave a comment under that. But that's one of the posts I saw in the Exodus Summit community that made me want to have this conversation. There are reasons that there are top countries in the Black migration movement, right? In the Exodus movement, in the Blacksit movement, in the Black people leaving the United States or leaving the countries, plural, Canada, UK also. There are reasons why there are some countries in the top and you hear about them over and over and over and over and over again. And there are reasons why certain countries you never hear of. Now, certain countries you never hear of because not everybody has a YouTube channel, but other countries you never hear of because we don't like it and we don't want to live there. Okay, we don't want to be treated like that. Okay, so that's what's happening. I think we can move on to number 2, anti-Blackness. So, wait, let's make this a group assignment. What other countries would you say rampantly anti-Black and I'm just not going there? No, we're on. What are we on? Anti-Black. Yeah. Rampantly, openly anti-Black and I'm just not going. You can have individual experiences with people anywhere. And that can cloud your judgment. But Egypt is the place that I always hear. And there are individuals, some places, one city is yuck and another city is yum, right? In Spain, lots of people don't care. Lots of Black people like, not Madrid. Okay. I'll go anywhere in Spain but Madrid. So Argentina. Oh, good, good, good. Benita. Thank you, Benita. Argentina. Put that's on the list also. Okay. Argentina. Thank you. Another place I've not been, another place Rashida Dow has been. She's not here today. She's on vacation in Canada. But I'm writing Argentina down so I don't forget it. Argentina, absolutely. It's a place where you're just going to go and be like, this sucks. Oh, Dominican Republic. Okay. So Dominican Republic is the wonderful, it could be such a wonderful place. It's the combination of the Caribbean and Latin America in terms of like, it's priced like Latin America or Central America. It's not priced like them other expensive Caribbean places. But you got that good Caribbean weather. It should be a home run. The Dominican Republic, for Black people who want to leave the United States, it should be a home run, but it is a strikeout. It's a no. It's a no for you, dog. Okay. I'm telling you, if you're on my side of the paper bag test. Now, this is where phenotype and color matters, and hair type and nose, all these things matter. There are Black American people who love, love, love Dominican Republic. I have cousins. I have a cousin who loves, loves, loves the Dominican Republic. We're not on the same side of the paper bag test. Okay. I think that there are some Black American people who would love it and wouldn't notice a problem until they noticed how other people are treated. Okay. So as a country, we're putting the Dominican Republic on the list. Okay. So we've added Argentina and the DR. Okay. Okay, friends. The Dominican Republic is such a disappointment because, I mean, it is the perfect combination. It's, I love me some Latin America. And I love the Caribbean, and it's priced like Latin America while having the weather of the Caribbean. What a perfect match, a perfect storm, but it's just not a place for you, friends. Okay. Black women, my friends, you're my friends, and I don't want you to go there and I don't want you to have that experience. Okay. Okay. So that's our list. Jayton says India also. India is huge. And I don't know if people in the cities compared to people in the countryside or on the beaches would have a different answer. But for now, we're going to put India on the list as well. Okay. India also. India, for me, having never visited India, there's a commonality here on this anti-Black list matching up with places in the world I've never been. Okay. There's the reason that this is the section of the list where the places I've never been are really, really heavily weighed, right? Heavily represented. For me, I think India is a problem for women solo. There are women who navigate India, and love it. But I just think, why put yourself in that situation, right? I don't mean as a form of victim blaming. I mean, why put yourself in that situation to have to be so vigilant? I don't want to be vigilant all the time. Hypervigilance is one of the things that's killing us in the United States. Having to always look over our shoulders, having to always be aware of what's happening. I don't want to live like that. And I really don't want you to live like that. And so, okay, we've added India to the list. Great group assignment. Thank you. Egypt, Argentina, DR, India. Okay. And no, I've never been to any one of these. There are people in the world, and there are responsible YouTubers who would be like, I'll never talk about a place I've never visited myself. That's not me. Okay. I think a fool is somebody who can't learn from other people's mistakes. Okay. A fool is somebody who can't learn from other people. Okay, you call me a lot of things, but I ain't no fool. I've not been to these places because I'm inside of enough travel spaces that I hear Black women's experiences over and over and over again, and I get to avoid those places. Okay. A fool is somebody who can't learn from other people. Now, having said that, if these places have been on your heart to go, see it for yourself. And we're not saying don't go to these places. We're saying you probably don't want to move to these places. But quite a few women in this community have visited these places, have enjoyed these places. We're just talking about you probably don't want to move there. Okay. You probably want to put somebody else on your move abroad plan. Okay, friends? Okay. I spend enough time in travel work communities. I hear a lot of people's experiences over and over and over. Listen, I can pick up a pattern. One thing I can do is clock a pattern. I've picked up these patterns. Okay. Some of you are listing countries on here that I wouldn't put. Some of these I disagree with, right? Aruba, I disagree with Aruba being on the list. Australia, I disagree with it being on the list for this reason. China, China is not necessarily, I would say in China, what you're going to experience is just, China is a place where it varies whether you're in a city, you're in a small town, you're out in the country. I think cities in China, most people, so Chinese people stare. There are places in the world where people just don't stare. Japanese people, they don't stare. They don't look at you. I know they see you, but they don't stare. Chinese people stare. Chinese people will, and they have a different boundary system than we're used to. Which is zero boundary. You get no personal space. Okay. Their amount of personal space and our amount of personal space is very different. So China can be difficult to navigate, but I don't know that it belongs on this list for this reason. Because I know enough Black women who are like, yeah, China, I like it. I live there. Life's good. Life is breezy, right? That good cost of living and that good food and the whatever they're experiencing, great transportation, right? Those things are enough of a bonus that they're okay learning this new culture. So for tall people, okay, friends, you notice how short people, their idea of personal space is really annoying, right? You know, you're tall, your arm's length is much different from their arm's length. You're in a crowd and here are the short people all up on you. It's like that all the time in China. They're just always, it's just, I've not been to China, but I've been to places with a lot of Chinese tourists. Again, right? A lot of crossover here. I've been to places with a lot of Chinese tourists, and you can tell the Chinese tourists from the Indonesians. You can tell Chinese tourists from the Thai. You can tell Chinese tourists from wherever you are. And part of it is their personal space and their staring, and they will just come up and take pictures of you like you're some sort of landmark, not a human person. But still, I don't know. I don't know that they belong on the do not move there list. I think they're on the proceed with caution. If you're interested, check it out. See what you feel. That's me. Okay? Because look, Lisa, Soul Level Healing, says she loved China. Okay? So wait, it's true though. It's true. I'll be like, back up off me, bro. Short people don't have the same idea of personal space as average height people. And we be back up off of me. Okay. Cultural differences. Yes, yes, racism. I'm not saying China racism. I'm not saying things are not racism in China. There's racism in China. But I'm saying I don't know that they're on the avoid list. We make it an avoid list today. And I feel 100% comfortable with the places on our avoid list right now. Egypt as a place to move to, not as a place to visit. I'm comfortable with this avoid list. Egypt, Argentina, Dominican Republic, and India. I feel good about that. And India, even I would put India's probably the least, I feel least confident about India, about on this list. Okay. And Chinese people spit. There's a lot of cultural problems in China that you need to know about. Chinese people spit while they're walking. They just spit. There's spit. It's a it's a thing. Okay. I haven't even been to China, but here's how I know I don't want to go. I've been to Hong Kong, which is not, I don't know. Don't this is not a political statement. I don't know, but I think Hong Kong is not China. Right. But there are some things that make me say, if you want to go to China, give it some thought, but it's probably not going to be a yes. Visit for a long time. Okay. Visit. Okay. Visit. They just spit while they're walking. Years ago, when I was in the army 100 years ago, and there were a handful of white dudes who, when we would run, when we would be doing our PT, while we were running, they would just spit. And it annoyed me so much. And I didn't feel that experience, like spit on the ground. I'm not talking about spitting at people or anything like that. I just mean spit on the ground. And it just annoyed me. And I hadn't felt that for years and years until I went to Southeast Asia and ran into all those Chinese tourists, and they were just spitting all the time. It's just, why? Explain, please. It's just a thing. Cultural differences they're real around the world. Okay. China, I don't know. But the anti-Blackness, reason number one, how do we feel about this? We feel good about this? Okay. Are we making our avoid list? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't eat now. I'm sorry. Well, we need to know some things. We need to know some things that people don't talk about. And then you get there and you act like I am the one who's wrong. Yes. Okay. I flew China. Juncat says spitting on the plane. Really? Somebody must have commented that. Yes. Okay. Yes. They will spit on the floor in the plane. I flew China Southern Airways, which is why when we went to Vietnam, I was like, take any airline you want except for a Chinese airline. Not China Southern, not China Eastern, not China Airways, not Air China, China, anything. Don't do it, right? Take a Korean airline, take a Taiwanese airline, take a Japanese airline, take a Vietnamese airline, take an American, take a British, take a French, not a Chinese airline. It's not fun. Okay. All right. I flew China Southern. During my sabbatical, I came and left and came and left. I left in September. I flew to Southeast Asia through Malaysia. But then I came back halfway for my mom's birthday. And then I flew back again at the end of the sabbatical. And so I flew China Southern the final time. My first ticket was September to April for the thing. And then the second flight was China Southern. It was really, really cheap. I think I probably paid $900 or something on Japan Airlines for the first flight I went to Kuala Lumpur, but it was Japan Airlines, JAL. 9 something. And I paid like 5 something for the second flight. That savings, that 50% savings was not worth it. It was not worth it. It wasn't worth it. Being on an airplane for 12 or 14 hours or whatever. That's why I told y'all, okay, when we were going to Vietnam, in February, I told you, take any airline you want except a Chinese airline. Okay? Okay. Okay. I wrote that out. I emailed it out. I posted it in the community, right? There's probably no airline that flies that far from the US to Vietnam. There's probably no airline that flies that far that you're going to have a bad experience with. Take Emirates, take anybody except for a Chinese airline. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Let's recover from the grossness. Let's talk about countries with no reparation, or let's talk about countries that still actively mistreat their Aboriginal people, their local, their indigenous people. Aboriginal, I think, is synonymous with indigenous. I may be wrong. That's how I use it. Okay. I use the term Aboriginal to mean indigenous, the people who are from there, their people, right? We just went on that cruise. We stopped through the Bahamas and Great Exuma, which is beautiful. Great Exuma, the sand, the water, it's beautiful. But there's no Aboriginal people, right? Or all of the indigenous people were killed off. They have some monuments to them, some things, some information. You can learn history from them, but there are no indigenous people left. It's Black people, it's white people, it's Asian people. It's not the indigenous people. Okay, so let's talk about what on the list. Who made my list? I didn't tell you that story to tell you Bahamas is on the list. Bahamas is not on the list for that reason. Because every place would be on the list. I'm talking about actively a place where you're going to see face to face them mistreating the Aboriginal people. Australia, okay? Australia. You don't want to live in Australia, okay? You want to visit. I visited. I think you might want to visit. If you're interested. If you would like to be in a place where there's just kangaroos in people's front yards and you can hold a koala bear at the little zoo or whatever they call it, right? And you can see the Aboriginal people doing a ceremony. I went to a thing and watched them do a thing, right? If you want to experience and you want to see their trees, like instead of sparrows in the trees, what do we have? Sparrows and we have robins and we have whatevers. They have parrots and parakeets. They're regular, like everyday birds are parrots and parakeets. It's a strange place. And I don't know, if you want to visit, go visit. But you're going to see them. You are going to see with your own eyes and hear with your own ears that they talk about their Aboriginal people like it's America in the 50s, right? Pre-civil rights movement, United States. They're going to say things like they're a different type of, they're not Homo sapiens, they're something else, right? You're going to hear them say things out loud, out of their own mouths to let you know that I don't like it here. And it's going to make you not want to be there. Their racism is not directed to Black people. I don't think they care about Black people. They don't really have Black people. They don't think about Black people, right? That's when people say anti-Blackness is everywhere. I'm like, no, because some places they don't even have Black people, right? I was in Australia for 2 months, maybe 3 months. I want to make sure I didn't see another Black person. I want to make sure. Because there were in Bali, I met a woman who said she lived in Australia, she and her husband. She was a Black woman from the UK. I'm 99% certain. I may remember. Sometimes I say things and I remember, oh yeah. I may remember later. But I don't think I saw one other Black person in 2 months in Australia. Right? So anti-Black, they're not anti-Black. They don't even have Black people. They don't think about Black people. But they don't like them Aboriginal people. And so, boom, Australia. It's strange and it's beautiful and whatever, and you might want to visit, but you're not going to live there. Okay. Now, on New Zealand, however, every Black woman I know, including Krishan from Blacks at Global, every Black woman I know who visits New Zealand is like, oh, I'll move it here. Not every, because I don't think Rashida went to New Zealand, but I don't remember her having that experience. But other Black women, they love them some New Zealand. Okay. So 2 different places. But 2 different experiences. So yeah. They're terrible people. Australian white people are terrible people. Okay. Australian white people, South African white people, American white people, they're terrible people. And it's genetic. It's bred into them. I don't know. I don't know. They're not good people. And you can see it when you meet them. I had the pleasure of doing work exchanges in Australia for a family that was not Australian. She was Dutch and he was British. The kids were Australian, but I guess, but they weren't genetically Australian. But then people who came over when the Queen sent a whole bunch of people from the UK and people, adults and children, The Queen sent a whole bunch of people over to Australia. Not good people. Not good people. Okay? I don't have what was the draw about New Zealand? Helen says. Geographically, it's just beautiful. And it's not very crowded. It's a place where you can have space. The ruler, I don't know if she's a prime minister. They have leadership that people like and trust. They have leadership that kind of leads the way in the world, in terms of like common sense and good judgment. But I think it's just the natural beauty. When I was in Southeast Asia traveling around, one of the young women who was staying in the hostels with me, and we were bopping from place to place, not with me, but we were staying in the same hostels and bopping around. She left and went on a road trip through New Zealand. She rented a camper van, and her pictures, I was like, that place is beautiful. Now, there are a lot of beautiful places. Doing a camper van trip in the United States also is an opportunity to see some beauty. Canada, right? A lot. South Africa. But I think New Zealand is just beautiful and peaceful and well led, and people just like it, right? But places like that are very expensive. But people just really like it, and they feel good there. Sometimes you get to a place and you can feel you can feel the spirit of the people. You feel the vibes, and you're like, this place looks beautiful. Australia looks beautiful, but I don't like it here, and I don't feel good here. Apparently, New Zealand, the opposite. People like it. They feel good there. So, yeah, they joke in Australia. They call them palms, prisoners of Her Majesty. Prisoners of Her Majesty. That is a like way to say I am a founding Australian, right? Like in the United States, people would be like, my people came over on the Mayflower, right? In Australia, they would be like, I'm palm. They were often the worst because Australia has a lot of immigrants like every place else. There are New Zealand people who move over to Australia. People move to Australia from all over the world, just like here. And there are people who are like, I am a palm, or my family are palms. That's how they distinguish themselves. But there's nothing to brag about. Yeah, we don't want to leave the frying pan into the fire. So let's avoid some places. Okay, so we ready to move on from the indigenous conversation? There are places that are still grappling with how they're going to repair relationships with their indigenous people, and there are countries who say we don't care at all. We're not going to do it. As far as humans go, I don't know that anybody's doing it especially well, but as Australia is doing it the worst. Not the worst. Not I don't mean the worst, but Australia is doing it very poorly, and it's a place that people ask about sometimes, so don't go. I don't mean don't go. I mean take it off your move there list. D, are you here? Was it D? Who house sat in Australia for a year? That was Deborah. Are you here? Do you have anything to add about Australia? She house sat in Australia for more than a year. We ready to move over to countries of they told me POHM, prisoner of Her Majesty. Tana says POME. I think they said POHM, prisoners of Her Majesty. POHM. All right, so you ready to move over to Nazi sympathizers? Okay, avoid moving to countries where the leaders are Nazi sympathizers. Right now, that's Hungary. Hungary is really, and that's a shame because Budapest, I remember, I've been to Budapest. Okay, I've been to Hungary. And it was a beautiful city with good food. I eats the meats. And in Hungary, you could just walk down the street and go from meat vendor to meat vendor, right? You can get you a sausage and a whatever the next meat is and whatever. One time I ate so much meat and then I got a little €5 ticket to the opera. but I had stopped on the way and ate at 2 different meat vendors. And I'm sitting in the little $5 opera, just tooting, farting. I was so gassy. Okay. So, but Hungary's got a problem now, right? Their leadership is, I think the term Nazi sympathizer is funny because these aren't just people who are like, oh, the Nazis weren't that bad. These are people who like want to return to those days. So they're more than Nazi sympathizers. I guess they're Nazis, right? Is what we would call these people. You just call them Nazis, right? Listen, one of our faves is I'm about to throw one of our faves on this list. I've been to Hungary. The second one on this list I've not been to, and that's Italy. Italy's prime minister, Nazi. Okay, Italy's prime minister, what's her name? Melonia? Something? Nazi. Okay, Nazi sympathizer. If you're planning on going to Italy, you might want to wait until she's gone. Wait until she's gone. Wait till that lady's gone. Go somewhere else first. Visit Italy. You can visit if you want. But don't move there until she's gone. Maybe. What do you think? What do you think? Those of you who have Italy on your list, what do you think? Yeah, I think we just call them Nazis. Nazi sympathizer is not clear enough. Okay. Anybody have any thoughts about this? Has anybody given her any thought about this? Georgia Maloney? Georgia? Yeah. Maybe we wait. Okay. We don't want to jump out of the frying pan and into the fire. Okay. Maybe we wait. Go someplace else. There's plenty of other places. Go like any other place. I would just Google. This is not a question for AI. I don't think AI is not a place that you want to go to find current events information. Okay. But this, you may want to Google, because there are indexes. There are people who put out reports, right? There are organizations around the world who put out reports. So maybe I would Google what countries have the highest levels of Nazi sympathizers, is what they would call them, in their administration or in their top levels of government or something. Okay. Let's not jump out of the frying pan and into the fire. Let's avoid her. Right. Okay. All we took off was Hungary and Italy. There are other countries that are doing some things that people need to keep an eye on. But as far as I know, from being a person who barely watches the news, okay, all the 2 countries I know that always come up in this conversation are those 2 countries, the ones to watch in terms of their fascist and Nazi leadership. Plus, of course, the United States. Okay. If you weren't here in the beginning, we've already said every single thing on this list, the United States is also on this list, which is why we're leaving. Okay. Everything on this list of 6, United States is up there, girl. Okay. So be careful. But everything I know as a non-news intaker, a person who doesn't really take in the news, these are the 2 countries that always get named. Lucky One says also Sweden, Switzerland, Finland. If things are going on there, I don't know. Do your Googles, okay? But I'm going to put on your list to avoid. I'm going to put Italy and Hungary on your list to avoid. And it's so sad because I probably will go to Italy before she's out of office. I don't know when she's out of office. I probably would still visit. Right? Like, but I'm not, absolutely not moving there. Hungary, it's a shame. Budapest, it was beautiful. And it's another place where people didn't really care about me being a Black woman. They didn't really care, right? Not one way. I mean, they saw okay. There was admiration. It's one of the places where men just would stop me on the street and holler at me. One man stopped me on the street and I went to the bar with him. He was like, can I buy you a drink? And I said, yes, you can. Right? Hungary, Budapest. It's unfortunate, but it's a thing we need to think about. This exchange of experiences and opinions are enlightening. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So, but Italy, I think I would still visit. I have scruples and morals, and I have lines that I won't cross. And so maybe by the time I'm start thinking about planning a trip to Italy, I may cross it off because of her, right? Because of their government, because of Georgia being a terrible Nazi person, their prime minister. I might cross it off. But I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying don't move there. Okay, I put it on your list. I put it on your avoid list. Okay, maybe what we should do is throw out a couple. So for Australia, I gave you some alternatives. For India, I mean for Italy, Croatia looks a lot like Italy. Greece looks a lot like Athens. Looks like a sad Italy. We just left Athens. The city, it looks like a sad version of Italy. No, no, no. Croatia. I would say Croatia looks a lot more like Italy than you would think. And maybe Prague, which doesn't look like Italy, but it just looks like a really cool city. Alternatives, okay? Okay, alternatives to move to. I don't think you want to move to Greece because I'm not sure about the economy. I'm not sure about the money. I'm not sure how they're doing. And Athens is sad. It looks very sad. Okay. The islands, beautiful. The city, sad. Okay, those are my alternatives for the Nazi sympathizing Italy and Hungary. Let's talk. We ready to talk about countries that are rolling back rights that we want to avoid? Dr. D.B. Bell, I loved Prague and I felt good there. Prague looks amazing. It's another place that I haven't been to. Looks amazing, and does not have a reputation of Black people hating it there. Black American women going and hating it. Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting. Kemi says, I believe Croatia. I can believe Croatia, as in Croatia being a good place. My roommate in Asia was Croatian, and she sees how evil US is to Black women. One of the best things for me about traveling around full time was meeting people from all over the world and seeing how they are. Now, I am a person who will pick up a pattern and I will consider a thing a pattern. I meet two good Slovenians and I'm like, oh, Slovenia is a nice place, right? I'll make up a pattern if a pattern doesn't exist. But that's a thing I feel comfortable about, right? The men from Wales were nicer than the men from from England, right? Even though it's all the UK. Welshmen, way chiller and cooler than Englishmen. Slovenia. Am I thinking of the right place? Slovenia? Yeah, Slovenians, super chill, right? And that makes some places rise on my list and some places fall on my list of places that I would want to spend a significant amount of time. And so I think, yeah, I think we can let people be ambassadors for their country, right? We all know, was it Oprah, or when people show you who they are, believe them the first time? I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. And so I've seen Croatians have a reputation of being good people. Okay. I'm okay with that. That was Dr. Maya Angelou. Okay. I'm okay with that, right? So Croatia has a good reputation, good cost of living. Everybody's got inflation, but good cost of living, good reputation. Maybe use that as an Italy dupe, as a substitute for Italy until Italy gets rid of the lady, the fascist lady, the Nazi lady. Okay. David P. Hi. The Slovenians and Slovenes, are they Slovenes? And Croats are amazing people. I've never been to either place, but the ones I've met in person and online have all been chill, friendly, sociable. Yeah, I agree with that. They're smart. Smart as in informed, smart and informed. I've met quite a few Slovenians, which made me like question everything I know about money and economy and affordability, because I'm like, how are like I saw a Slovenian family. They had like 3 or 4 children under the age of 7, just traveling full time. I don't know. It made me question everything, everything about money. So I let people act as ambassadors for their country and let that, you know, guide some of your decisions. Not all of your travel decisions, but some of them. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. It's also how I knew I was going to enjoy going to the Philippines. I worked in hospitals. I worked in healthcare in the US. And listen, nobody is going to treat you as well as a Filipino nurse who made dinner last night, right? She going to bring it in the next day. You going to eat you some lumpia. Okay, girl. And when I got to the Philippines, I was right. They were the same good people. Now, the United States this is an easier test when you're around the world. When you're in the United States, it's hard to judge a country by the people, because the United States can really pit people against each other and can attract terrible people. And so it's hard. So like when we talk about Mexican Americans versus Mexicans, there's a difference. Irish Americans versus Irish, there's a difference. Irish people also have a reputation of being some of the best people in the world. Filipino people have, but in the United States, they may not be the best people. They may be more striving to replicate what they see white Americans doing in order to achieve what white Americans have, quote unquote, achieved. But outside of the United States, that's a good test. You can let people be the ambassador for their country, right? Mexican Americans are not the same as Mexican people. Mexican people are wonderful people. They've been so good to me and the women in this community, and not the same for Mexican Americans. Okay. So I just want to say that in terms of letting people be, yeah. And Janice says America corrupts people. In terms of, or Janice, hi. In terms of letting people be ambassadors, that works a little less in the inside of the US. But when you're traveling around, I believe that. I let people be their ambassador for their country. Okay. If I don't like you, I don't need to go visit that country anytime soon. Yeah, there's a difference. Hey, Roshni's Glamazini. Yeah, that's how, I believe in stereotyping things. It makes things easier. Let one thing represent all of the thing. It makes it easier, right? That way I can just assume off the bat. When I meet an American white man, I can just assume he got where he got from doing nothing and from privilege. And then you got to prove me wrong. Okay, you got to prove me wrong. I'm going to assume you're a dum-dum who doesn't even know where the mustard is in your refrigerator, but you want to run this corporation. Okay. And if that's not you, prove me wrong. I believe in letting people, I believe in stereotyping and amplification. Okay. Thank you. The plant plan is like, human brains are made for pattern building. It keeps us safe. She's like, okay, Stephanie, calm down. And this, American white men are not the same as white men from other countries. I have the three worst white people you're going to encounter around the world: Australian, South African, American. Okay. Not necessarily in that order. I think they all are equally awful. But there's a difference, right? There's a difference. How did we do with our Nazi sympathize? Oh no, we're moving on to rights rollbacks. Countries that are actively rolling back rights. So one of them is El Salvador, where I went and had a wonderful time. I went to El Salvador March of 2023 or 2. And that's funny, but I'm not going to put it on the screen. I went to El Salvador then, and it was safe and it was beautiful and the food was good and the beaches were nice and the people were nice. But their government had recently imprisoned tens of thousands or 100,000 men without due process. He said he had to do it. And it did make the country, things were safe, But rights rollbacks continue, right? Rights rollbacks lead to more and more rights rollbacks. And as Black people, we are sensitive to that. We're going to be the next, right? No matter who they say they're targeting, we're going to be the next. We're going to be the next people. So El Salvador, as beautiful as it was, as much of a good time as I had there and ate well there, y'all might remember, I liked it. I went for the retreat and I stayed. I was like, oh, I'm going to stay here. I wouldn't move there. Great, probably a great cost of living still. Okay. Also, Indonesia. Okay. Indonesia is actively rolling back LGBTQ rights. Well, I guess Indonesia has never been an LGBTQ friendly country, but they are more openly and actively saying, not you. You're not, you same-sex couples and no rights for you. Right. And so we're going to add them to the rights rollback list. Now, Indonesia is not the easiest place to move to. We love Bali, but it's not the easiest place to move to. Anyway, there is some sort of new visa out in the world, in Indonesia, but slippery slope, friends. Even if an anti-LGBTQ rights rollback wouldn't directly impact you, you're not going to want to be there. You're not going to want to be in those places. You're not going to want to be there. You're not going to want to live in those places. Just like Australia, you'll hate it to see people being mistreated. You'll hate it. Okay. And so often we get asked why women in this community aren't focusing on Black countries, in particular African countries. Some of it is, we can go where we want. Okay. You don't tell us where to go. Some of it is logistical. Some of it is a matter of safety. And so that's that. Okay. Now we're listing some other places with some rights rollbacks. Oh, okay. Oh, this is good news. Okay. Zero Babel 777. Uruguay is a place I'm looking into as its government is more democratic than most, and the Black population is growing at the moment. All right. Can you report back if you're in the Exodus Summit community? Because I get asked about Uruguay probably once a month recently. Somewhere, somehow, it's become a place that people ask me about, and it's a place I know zero about. So if you're in the Exodus Summit community, and you make some plans and visit, can you let us know? Let us know how it goes. Exodus Summit is the community for Black women who are interested in planning their exodus. All right. Black women only. ExodusSummit.com/community. We left Facebook. So when you click on this link, it'll take you to our relatively new community. We moved over sometime this summer. And we're not dealing with Facebook anymore. Now, there's a $1 fee, one-time fee of $1. It's not monthly, it's not annual, it's just a one-time fee to join, $1. Because it's not a free platform and we have to pay for the platform and we have to pay our team for more moderation of the platform, moderating the platform. And so $1 fee, but inside of that community, you get community. You get community with Black women, many of whom are in this chat today, who are so amazing. Won't you agree? You get information about our meetups. You get to organize your own meetups if you want. And you get to share and give and receive information, questions, knowledge, research about moving abroad. All right, so rights rollbacks. We need to keep an eye on things. if the whole world is growing in fascism, there may be, it may be a matter of picking the, what do they always tell us? Pick the best of the worst, or whatever they always tell us. But until then, I think we can still pick good places. We can still pick places, countries with leadership that we would trust with our lives and our families' lives, until the point where those places don't exist anymore, and then we just have to go with the best of the worst, the lesser of two evils. Thank you. I don't think we're at lesser of two evils territory. I don't think we're in lesser of two evils territory. We just have to keep our eyes open. Things are shifting. White people, their ability, Europeans, I'm talking about hundreds of years ago, their ability to take over when they are the minority. Their numbers are small. Their ability to take over, and it just still, I don't really understand how that happened, except that I don't know. I don't understand how it happened. We're talking about this much of the globe having power in around the rest of the world, to an extent where when they start to feel threatened, when they start to feel like, oh, these other people are rising up, they can just put their boot down, step on people's necks without any effort. Looking at a map of the world, a globe is what it's called. Looking at a world map or a globe, it's like these people should not have the power. Europeans make up this much of the world. I can't fix it. I can't fix it. What I can say is, when we go to our chosen homes, when we decide that we're going to Colombia, Costa Rica, Portugal, Barbados, Jamaica, when we decide that we're going to these places, I think it's important that we not just go there as expats, as immigrants, but I think we go there as community members, because one day, maybe we'll be alive to see it. One day, simultaneously, it'll have to happen simultaneously. When people in these pockets around the world, when these people decide they're going to say no more, we're going to want to be on there. We're going to want to be on the side of the places we're going, right? We're going to want community with the people we're moving with. Diamond Empress says, I'm trying to integrate. Okay. When white people move to other countries, they often stay. And when American white people, I don't know what other people do. When American white people move to other countries, they often stay in little American pockets, Americans and Canadians. They stay in their little pockets. We can't move like that. And I think there is some hope that one day everyone will decide to cast off the whiteness. And so we need to be in community in places and not just be there. Okay, all right. So that was rollback of rights. Let's talk soaring inflation. Remember, every single one of these reasons to take some country off of your list is also a reason to take the United States off of your list. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let's work on our exodus. So soaring inflation, I guess this is not an avoid. I'm going to say a country name. Don't jump down my throat. Okay. Don't get mad at me. I'm not saying avoid this country. I'm saying you need to be super aware of this. Okay. And that is Ghana. Of the places on the list. So I just pulled up I just did a Googles. Okay. I did a Google. List of countries by inflation rate, list as reported by the World Bank. And of the places that women in this community are thinking of moving to, Ghana was highest on the list, okay, for 2024's inflation rate. This, I think, is enough of inflation is enough of a world problem that this is not a reason to take Ghana off of your list. I'm not saying avoid Ghana. Of all 6 of these, this is the one that I'm saying, it ain't that bad, because everybody's got inflation. But Ghana's inflation is significant and serious, and already was not an inexpensive country, right? Colombia, so Ghana's number 13 on their full list of the world of countries by inflation rate. Ghana's 13. Colombia's in the top 25, I think. Colombia's 29, right? So I still live in Colombia, okay? Jamaica's 36, Mexico's 40. So I'm not saying avoid. I'm just saying you open your eyes, right? On the other end of the list of the places that we're considering, Malaysia had a decent, Malaysia, Panama, 2024 inflation as reported by the World Bank, not significant. Costa Rica, negative inflation. That's how expensive Costa Rica is. Costa Rica for Central America is very expensive. So their inflation rate in 2024 was negative, okay? Some have no numbers. Let's see, how many have no numbers? Number 159 through 188 have no numbers. So there are almost 30 countries with no reporting. But of the countries that I know women in this community have been interested in, Ghana was the highest, right? And so that's just a thing to know. I think this is the only section of today that I think does not mean you take that off your list, because almost everybody's got inflation. So they have 188 on the list, 30 have no number. So only 158 have a number, and 152 of those are up, okay? It's only 5 countries with negative inflation in 2024. Now, Barbados, oh, look at that. Barbados, 157 on this list. Barbados inflation was in the negative. Barbados, Costa Rica, I missed that the first time. Barbados, Costa Rica, St. Lucia, Sri Lanka, negatives. China is almost 0, okay? So do with that what you will. That was 2020. Those are 2024 numbers. Okay, do with that what you will. United States is getting more expensive, but so is almost every place else. But not every place else, apparently. Okay, not Costa Rica, even though it's already expensive. Not Barbados. Barbados is a good choice for a lot of people who want to go to a Black country, right? And who want, that Caribbean weather. Barbados' cost of living already was relatively good compared to other Caribbean islands. Barbados, Curacao, Jamaica are more affordable than like St. Kitts or Turks and Caicos or whatever. Now, going back to the rights rollbacks, Caribbean islands do not have a reputation for being LGBTQ safe. Okay? I don't know about Barbados in particular. Do with that what you need to. ELAC 8501 says high crime rate in Barbados. Okay. I hear a lot of talk around about Burkina Faso. I would say this, don't jump on the new hot country. Don't a military and any country with a military leader, I'm like, let's pump our brakes here. I don't, just like we don't want a military rule in Chicago. We don't want the military in our city, in our streets in Chicago. Do we want, anyway, Burkina Faso. Number 1, countries that are closing their doors to other countries, like we're other countries. You're an American. They're also closing their doors to you. The idea of a diaspora, the idea of Black people, African people seeing us as them, us as part of one of them, I think is a pipe dream. I think there's this pipe dream that we're Black, they're going to love us, they're going to accept us, they're going to welcome us home. I think they want American dollars without being in bed with the American government. And so we're the closest they can get. So move to a country in Africa because you like it there, not because you think it's your home and it's going to welcome you home. Unless not all of us are people whose people came here on slave ships. Okay. Some of us are people who flew here. But if your people came to the United States or the Caribbean on a slave ship, I would say don't pin your hopes on some diasporic dream. I need to hurry up. I need to get out of here. I need to hurry up. I need to get this moving. I got so much to do today. Don't pin your hopes on some diasporic dream. You're an American with American dollars if they're welcoming you. That's why. And not everybody is welcoming you. Okay. So that you want to go someplace where, I just said this, we want to go someplace where you can be in community with people and not always be an outsider. Visit and make sure that you can be in community with people wherever you're going, or even if you don't visit, if you move there, make sure you can be in community with people wherever you're moving to or staying, or don't stay. Go someplace else. If you're always going to be an outsider and you're always going to be pockets, you're always just going to be gimme, 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 gimme. Wherever you go, don't go there. Okay? I am one person, and this is one person's opinion. Okay? I'm not telling you how to think. I'm telling you how I think. Okay? If you want to move to Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, do it. Also, some of the I've only met 2 Cameroonian men, but they were both awesome. And we're both still Instagram friends. Like I like them, I don't follow men on platforms like that because they be stupid, right? I think Cameroon, they seem like good people based on my 2 experiences with 2 men from Cameroon. What was I saying? So if you're going to someplace, use your best judgment. I don't know what I was saying. Something about something. Okay? Yeah, Camerooni people are very friendly. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I've never Googled what Cameroon looks like and what cities and what beaches people might want to move to in Cameroon. But oh, I was saying something. Just be realistic is like, I guess what I'm saying. There is a dream. We're Black people who we were cut off from our motherland. And we were brought to the Americas. We created a whole new culture, but we do have a longing for what we lost. I don't think it can be regained. I don't think that can be I don't think we can get back what we lost. I think American policy plus white supremacist ideology plus capitalism mean that we're always going to be Americans in Africa. And I think there's always going to be a boundary, a border. They're never going to be able to trust us because we are the product of the colonizer. We are a result of, we learn from the worst. We learn. I think, put yourself in the other shoes. Would you trust Americans on your land? You would not. You're always American. Now, some of the women here are not at all connected to the transatlantic slave trade. That's a different relationship. Your people just came here 2 generations ago. That's different. But if your people have been in the US or the Caribbean or wherever for 400 years, friend, you're American or you're Caribbean, okay? I think. Jessica said, just say we come in peace. I can't get to the comment. Just say we come in peace. Maybe you can try. But I just want you to not get your heart broken. What I see. So I have this community called Exodus Summit on Facebook. The community had 26,000 members. Now we've recently, the Facebook group still exists, but we now moved over to a new platform. And what I see is women going to West Africa expecting to be welcomed home and instead being viewed as pockets, an open pocketbook. I just don't want you to get your heart broken. Okay? And as I've said, I'm a person who stereotypes. I believe in a few people working as an ambassador for a whole country. That applies to the Philippines. It applies to Ghana. Okay? All right? It applies to Cameroon. Right? Where I just said, I think Cameroonians must be amazing people because I know 2 people from there and they're both very nice people. I just don't want you to get your heart broken. I want you to have an expectation that is realistic. And I want you to look at things from both directions. Put yourself in their shoes. Okay? I'm sure there's some women in this chat who have had exactly the opposite experience. Friends, speak up. Okay? If you've gone to West Africa and been welcomed with open arms and been integrated into the community, say the word. I hear that happening in East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda to a lesser extent. Rwandans are a little hesitant, seems to be. But Kenya and Tanzania, I hear of Black women moving there and loving it. I love it. Part of the community. Life is breezy. Not breezy, but good, better. Right? Kenya and Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, not Uganda. Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. I hear much better reports than West Africa. Okay? That's why we talk about it all the time. We tried to do a meetup in Rwanda, I think, or I wanted to, but it just wouldn't work. Couldn't navigate it. Okay? That's all. I just want, okay, my opinions. Form your own opinion. Do your little scientific research. Do your study. Because I'm just going on vibes. Okay? I'm going on vibes. Okay. All right. But we're talking about soaring inflation. Inflation's rising everywhere. So maybe, having talked about this for a few minutes now, maybe that shouldn't even be on the list of reasons to not go. If inflation is rising almost everywhere, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have put that on the list, but I did. So whatever. Too late. Okay. Mindfully, Makeda. I've lived in Africa, been to all parts. To Stephanie's point, many go with a very romanticized view. And when you have a romanticized view of anything, it usually ends in disappointment. Okay? Okay. I just don't want you to be disappointed. Go there, enjoy, see for yourself. Okay? See for yourself. Thank you. Okay? Wander Enjoy says thank you for this comment. Thank you, Makeda. See for yourself. All right. It's okay, Diamond. It's okay if there are men here, as long as they're not acting bad. So there's a difference between there's a man in the chat and there's a man in the chat acting bad. Acting bad meaning, y'all know what acting bad means. It's okay for men to be here as long as they don't act bad. Some women, some women use their husband's name on the internet anyway. Like there's one account and they both use it. So sometimes a man's name is not necessarily a man. And some people have men's names. Or no, that's not how you say that. Some women have names that you would interpret as a man, but it's not a man, right? I have a cousin named Ryan, Ryan. She's a woman. Okay, just for raise the alert as soon as they get out of pocket. Okay. As soon as anybody gets out of pocket, raise the alert. But they're allowed to be here. Sometimes they have wives, Black women wives. So it's okay. It's gonna be all right. Thank you. All right, the final thing on the list is final reason to avoid a particular place is major infrastructure problems. Like the government shuts down all the time and they don't have money to pay people. In other countries, major infrastructure problems vary based on your like what is major depends on your tolerance. South Africa, as much as I love it, you're going to have to be okay with rolling blackouts. Mexico City, when there was a water shortage, was like, we're running out of water, right? Colombia, Bogota, first time I visited Bogota, they were like, well, here's how we're rolling out. Here's the day that this neighborhood does not have water, right? You need to know your tolerance. For me, the water thing seemed less of an inconvenience than the electricity thing. That's a me thing. That's my opinion. Maybe you would hate having a day without water. I was like, I didn't experience it because my neighborhood, the place I was in, didn't need to participate in the water outage because they had their own water. The building had its own water. I think either that or they had the water shortage and I didn't, or the water outage and I just didn't notice. Could have been that too. Or maybe I don't know. Okay, you need to know what their thing is and can you handle it? And so I don't have any one country on this list for this because it depends on what that thing is and how it impacts how you would feel about it. I think water is an okay thing to have water blackout for a day. I'm okay. Electricity blackout for a day. Ugh, I'm whining like a baby unless I had a generator and knew ahead of time and just didn't leave the house. If you leave the house during an electricity blackout, like even traffic lights go out, like everything is impacted. To me, water is okay until we get to the critical moment when there's no water, which I haven't had a problem with. I've never experienced in my life. Okay. I didn't grow up like some people grew up in Southern California when they, just until just a few years ago, Southern California was in real water problems, right? So Michelle says impacts of climate change. Hey, Michelle Forrester, this is the impact of climate change. Everybody's got something, right? Shortages, too much, right? Might be flooding, might be whatever's. Infrastructure problems are they can vary country to country or city to city, and your tolerance of them can vary. So if I went, like when I lived in Delaware, Philadelphia, SEPTA went on strike quite often. It seemed like quite often. The public transportation in Philly went on strike quite often, but I didn't live in Philly. But I think being a Philadelphian who needed public transportation, that would be more of a nuisance than no water for the day, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But you need to know what their thing is, their infrastructure problem is. In Costa Rica and in a lot of the world, this is a separate conversation about infrastructure in a lot of the world, the plumbing system cannot tolerate toilet paper. So speaking of, we talked about the spitting we're going to go back to a little gross conversation. We talked about the spitting in for Chinese people. We're going back to a gross conversation. For some of you, it'll be gross. Some parts of the world, you cannot flush your toilet paper. It's just a thing. I wouldn't consider it an infrastructure failing. It's just the way their system's set up. In a lot of Costa Rica, especially in older buildings, you don't flush your toilet paper. You wrap your toilet paper up in more toilet paper. You put it in the trash can that has a lid on it, and then you take it outside. For some people, that's an infrastructure problem that they are not willing to navigate. It's really easy to get used to. I'll tell you, it's really easy to get used to it, right? In Guanajuato, Mexico, we stayed in a really pretty Airbnb, and my mom remembered and I forgot, right? One time I flushed my toilet paper. I'm like, oh no, now my toilet's backed up. Now I got to plunge the toilet. And I don't think she forgot one time. And that was her first experience. Whereas I had been in Mexico for a year by then, right? I forgot, she remembered. It's an easy thing to get used to. Take the little trash bag out every day if you want to, take it outside, whatever. But the infrastructure thing, your no-go is a no-go. But sometimes you just don't know what it is. Okay. Amina's in San Miguel de Allende. Amina left Chicago. Okay. So she made it out of Chicago before full winter started. She and her family are in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, in their new home. And she says, they tell us that we can flush the toilet paper in her neighborhood, but she doesn't. They pick up the garbage 3 times a week, right? So she's not going to risk it. It's common in a lot of the world. Some of these places are really old. We forget how old some of these places are. It's common in a lot of the world. And there are things that you can get used to, and there are things that you can't. And maybe 2025, Stephanie can get used to one day every week where there's no water, or I think it was one day every 8 days, because there are 8, I can't remember what they call them now, 8 sections of Bogota. And maybe during dry season, 2025, Stephanie can deal with that, possibly not having water one day out of 8 for 3 months at a time. Maybe 2026 or 2027, Stephanie cannot get over it. And Bogota will no longer be a good fit if they remain a city with a water shortage. Now, another opinion of mine is that water is a problem around the world. And right, I don't think you can avoid it. Because my parents in Dover didn't have rain for 4 or 5 months last year. No rain in Delaware for, I'm going to go with 4 months, 4 full months, right? I think water is just a problem around the world. But that's that on that, okay? So we went through my 6 reasons to avoid a particular place. Anti-Blackness, rampant, public, notorious anti-Blackness, which crossed Egypt, Argentina, Dominican Republic, and India off of our list. No reparations and mistreatment of Aboriginal people. We crossed Australia off of our list. Nazi sympathizing leadership, which we decided is just Nazi leadership. Italy and Hungary are off of our list. Rights rollbacks, active rights rollbacks, El Salvador and Indonesia are on our list. Soaring inflation, I kind of am hemming and hawing on that one. Ghana, we're keeping a close eye on Ghana, okay? Soaring inflation, we're keeping a watch on Ghana. Infrastructure problems, that is up to you. That's to be determined by you, okay? Okay. All right. I wanted this to be a 1.5 hour live stream because I have got a lot to do today. I got to get my talk. I got to stop and do my talk a couple of times to prepare for my keynote speech at the Wealthy Black Women Summit. And Rashida and I are doing we have to work today as well. So how did we do? And what questions did I star that I said I was going to answer later? Super chats. I hope you're still here. Nora's Niche. Thank you for the super chat. With enough money, anywhere can be a great visit. Living is a different situation. That's right. That's right. right? Any place can be great if you're just visiting. Even Saudi Arabia. Have you noticed? Rashida's pointed this out to me. I guess I'm in the wrong spaces on the internet. Rashida pointed out to me that Saudi Arabia has going through real campaigns to convince people to visit a place where women cannot leave the airport solo. I believe this is still how Saudi Arabia operates. Solo traveling women, you can't leave the airport. You better get you some man to take you to your hotel, get you some man to be your tour guide. You're not solo traveling women in Saudi Arabia cannot leave the airport. But they've had a whole campaign, a whole tourism campaign, lots of travel influencers, the little comedy campaign. I did see the comedy show conversation. Some comedians were paid handsomely to perform in Saudi. They're really going through it to try to make sure you know it's a safe place to visit. Whatever. No, it's a no. It's a no for me, dog. Any place, you know, those black travel influencers, they go into Saudi Arabia and they talk about it's wonderful. Any place could be a great place to visit. That don't mean you want to live there. I agree with that, Nora. Thank you. The biggest success stories of Black Americans is in Ghana. There's a Black American woman who built over 400 homes in Ghana and made over $50 million and now building over 1,000 houses. I would beg to differ, and I would say that the biggest success stories of Black Americans going to an African country are happening in East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. Also, I think that going someplace and buying up a bunch of property is exactly why they don't want us. Going someplace as an American with your US dollars and buying up a bunch of land, their land, actual land that people use, right? Buying it out from under people is exactly why they won't trust Americans, because man, damn if we don't know how to colonize. This sounds kind of colonizerish to me. How about you get someplace and just use what you need? Take what you need. Can we practice? Can we normalize just taking how much you need? Because that $50 million that she's made in profit, he or she, woman, that $50 million that she's made in profit, is it in any way sticking around in Ghana? Not that Ghana needs our money, right? There's rich people in Ghana like there's rich people everywhere around the world. But that sounds colonizerish to me. And this is one of the reasons I think we're too American in our operations. We're too American in our navigations. We're too American for them to openly accept us. This is real colonizerish. This is real Americanish. This is super capitalist. And I think maybe let's not try that way. This is why they're not going to trust us. This is my thought. These are my thoughts. This is how I would approach this, right? This is how I think I would like to look at things, and how I think maybe we should start looking at things, right? We learn from the worst. Okay. Some of my previous conversation on how we'll always be Americans, they'll never accept us. Some of it is on their end, but a lot of it is on our end, right? A lot of it is our doing. We do things like that. Can we practice? Can we normalize taking what you need? Can we unlearn capitalism? Just a little bit. Take what you need. Because if you don't buy that land and drive up the price and make all that profit, people wouldn't need you to give them your little handouts and your little charity. You can pat yourself on the back for giving. I don't know that lady. I don't even know if that's a real story, but I'm imagining I've already made up a whole story about this lady, that she's patting herself on the back for the 2% that she gives back to Ghana. Whereas, lady, if you hadn't operated like you needed, like you operated, they wouldn't have needed that 2% that you gave back to Ghana. Okay, so okay. Thank you for the super chat is what how I'm ending this. Okay. Yeah. Diaspora dream may be a letdown. That doesn't mean you're not going to love the place. Love it for itself, not for some dream that you've put on it, not for some story you crafted. I just crafted a whole story about that lady, right? Some of you crafted a whole story about how people are going to, what things are going to be. Live the reality, enjoy it. Adrian, 8211, the Middle Passage destroyed our link to the motherland, but we can appreciate the spiritual connection. Absolutely. It didn't destroy the link to our motherland is still in you. It's still in you. It's in your DNA. They cannot destroy the link. And if I used the word destroy earlier, I'm sorry. They can't destroy the link, but they can impede the link. What I said was we can't go back and recapture what we lost. We can't recapture what we lost. Is that enough of a distinction? I don't think it's destroyed, Adrian. I hope that this is a little more hopeful. I don't think it's destroyed, but I do think that time keeps moving. Clock keeps ticking. People keep changing. And so we can't go back and recapture what we've lost. We've created an amazing culture ourselves, or cultures, plural, right? There are various Caribbean and American cultures that we've created that are fantastic, that the whole world wants to emulate. So what came out of this, what we created is beautiful and worthy of appreciation. And I think if we appreciated what we created a little more, we would be less thirsty for going back and trying to recapture what we lost. What we have is amazing. We're an awesome culture. I love being a Black woman. I love being an American Black woman. I love it. I don't feel super thirsty for what Ghana or Nigeria or Cameroon could give me. Because I'm more concerned with how do we make sure that we keep our culture as we move out of the United States, as we migrate out of the United States. How do we keep our culture as we move and as we get in community with other people, what was the word? I can't think of the word I was just thinking of. Whatever. How do we also keep our culture? Right? As two culture people, there are 2 culture people already and 3 culture people already. So I want to learn from them. How do I make sure I stay a Black American? I like it. I love being a Black American. I also want to be such a Colombian lady. Oh my gosh. Look at Senora Stephanie. She's so Colombian. I want to be so Bogota. Okay. I want people to, when they think of Bogota, that is what Bogota is. All right. She's carrying her little bag. The bag I can never remember. She carries her little bag. She is so Colombian. Right. But I also want to be so very Black, so very American. I love it. So I want to how do we hold on to that? And I need to learn from people who did that. People who more recently came to the United States, became Black American, but were also whatever they were before they left. How do I do that? But if we love being what we are, Black American, Jamaican, Haitian, if we love being that, I think maybe we're a little less grabby, thirsty for the acceptance of whatever West African culture or country we came from. Maybe that's just a me thing, because also sometimes I'll be like, I don't really attach to the way other people attach. Maybe that's a me thing. Maybe that's just the way I think, and other people aren't thinking like that. Maybe you can really, really love and still want, right? Because like adopted kids, they really, really love their adopted parents, and they still want to know the birth parents sometimes, not all the time. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to ponder this a little bit. I'm gonna have to ponder that later. Hmm. Oh, Teddy, hablo español. Oh, I be hablando all the time. I hablando all over myself. I hablo español. Okay. Hi, Rainbow Girl 80. Hi, we have a lot of new faces here today. Hi, welcome. Hit the like button, please, and subscribe, friends, and welcome. She says, now that's a word. Healing from internalized anti-Blackness is necessary. Heal. Heal yourself before you go to some other place and take your brokenness, your unhealed self with you. Heal. Heal from those things. That'll make everything smoother, right? Do I have plans to visit West Africa? No, I think I'll get to East Africa before West Africa. So, I've been to South Africa and I've been to Mauritius, which is Africa, but not, I mean, it's Africa. I shouldn't, that's an insult. It's Africa. I don't mean to insult Mauritius, but I've been there. And I've been to Morocco. I feel like there's one other. Maybe not. Maybe not. I would love to get to Kenya and Tanzania and Rwanda. Absolutely. West Africa, I have no plans. I don't have a whole lot of interest. I don't have a whole lot of interest. Yeah. Okay. I'm not a see the whole world person. I'm not. So there are people who have a checklist, or like there are people who want to see every country, and I'm that's not me. I'll get, like, when I was in South Africa, I had a rental car, and there's a little mountain range, and you can go through Lesotho, which is its own country. Lesotho is a landlocked country that is inside, surrounded by South Africa. I drove so close to Lesotho, and you can go and pop in and just get your little passport stamp, or you used to be able to. I don't know. This was 2017. Get your little passport stamp, check another country off the list. You could hang around for hours and spend time or whatever. And I was like, nah, I don't feel like that's necessary. Right. Not now, did I miss Lesotho, and will I regret it later? Maybe, because it may have been an awesome place and I never know. But I'm just saying, I'm not a country checklist person, right? Some place has to call to me more than I land there. It has to call to me. Lots of places call to me, but East, I'm very, very interested in several different places in East Africa. Rashni says that's her with Asia, not called to, not drawn there, right? It's a big world. Some places you just aren't interested in. Yeah. Yeah, it's up in the mountains. It's an interesting thing, to have a country that is completely surrounded by another country. So there are landlocked countries. There are other landlocked countries, but I don't know of other countries that are totally surrounded by another country. It's just a little circle in South Africa that is Lesotho. And so travelers, full-time travelers, they like to stop in, get their little passport stamp, right? It's a thing. It's a thing. And the road trips driving around South Africa was amazing. Taking that car and driving around South Africa. Fantastic. I love road trips. I love driving around places. Driving in those mountains in South Africa was wonderful. I didn't go into, it wasn't mountains like the Andes. Bogota's up in the Andes. I wasn't up like that, but just driving around, they were still mountains, but driving in that mountain range, it was the highlands, Beautiful, beautiful place, a beautiful drive. I drove the garden route, but I drove more of it at night than I planned. I mistimed things. So I drove part of the garden route in the day, in the daylight. But the best, I think I missed the best parts. But I drove the part of the garden route that I did drive, I enjoyed. I drove up to the Maludi route. It's called the Maludi route, up into the highlands. And then I drove to Kruger National Park, and then I drove down to Durban. Beautiful place to road trip. Okay, thank you. All right, I gotta go. Rashida and I have work to do. I have time to eat breakfast before we do our work. So we went through our 6 things. Let's see. What's your homework? Can you, oh, please hit the like button and then also hit the share button if this was interesting, if there's someone you want to share this with. Hit the share button and share this video. I'm about to look at my calendar right now, see where I am with time. But I think it's time for me to get my breakfast. What time is it? Yeah. Okay, time for me to get some brekkie, iron my clothes for the conference, and do all of that. If you are interested in some places that are yeses, okay, we made some no's. If you're interested in some yeses, in the description of this video, there's a video by the Yarbroughs called 5 Countries You Can Call Home for Under $1,000. Go ahead and click on that video if you want to watch some no's. If you're sick of me talking about, if you want to watch some yeses, if you're sick of me talking about don't move here, don't move there, look at their list of places that are under $1,000. And I think I also listed a link to my most recent video on the Great Migration, the Black Migration. I think we're in a second or another, I don't know if it's a second, but we're in another great Black migration where people in the United States are moving, Black people in the United States are moving. And so I've made, this is a series, this 6 countries is part of that series. And so I've also linked to another video about Black migration in the description. I don't remember which one. Let me see if I can find it. I linked to Anti-Blackness is Everywhere, Why Leave the United States. That's my own video. I'll drop that here if you're feeling like you need a little info. Just exit. I linked to the Yarbroughs 5 Countries You Can Call Home for Under $1,000 a month. I'll put that here in the chat. And I linked to, Finding Love and Family in Brazil from Find Your Free. I haven't watched this video yet, but it's a video that I want to watch. So we can watch that together. I'll probably watch it sometime today. All right. Because we're going to Brazil in June, probably. Exodus Summit meetup in Brazil in June, probably. And so I need to do some research. I need to do some Googles. Marathon Girl 1000. What do you think about mainstream American media now reporting that a high percentage of women want to leave the country? Of course, not mentioning that we are doing it first. I don't care what American mainstream media has to say about anything. Definitely not about Americans, Black people and the Black migration or exodus or Blackset. There are people who think that you get some validation from other people. I don't care about that. I don't care about it in terms of like somebody else says there's a migration and now it's a legitimate migration. I know it's a migration. So I don't need mainstream media or anyone to co-sign what I already know. Because as we've talked about at length here, I believe what I know. But also, I don't feel like there are other people on the reverse who are like, don't talk about it out loud. We can't let people know what's happening. I don't care about that either. I say what I want. So I don't care about them hearing about some movement and knowing, because they can know all they want. I don't care. So I have no thoughts about it. Okay, I'm giving y'all time to say goodbye. Goodbye, friends. Octavia Harris. Bye, y'all. See you. Luxury Bucket List. See you guys. Good morning. Okay. Yeah, let them, like Mocha, I am Team Black American Exodus. Get out and let it crumble. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, friends. Happy Saturday. We already had, so I know Thanksgiving. So it's weird. People be like, I can't believe you celebrate Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving meals. Thanksgiving is my favorite meal. If you ask me what's my favorite meal, I'm just going to say Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I mean the turkey and the greens and the macaroni and cheese and the sweet potatoes, and you know what I mean. And so I'm very happy to report that I had one Thanksgiving this week with leftovers. We had Thanksgiving this week here at my parents' house, and we mostly just finished the leftovers, I guess, last night. And next week, I'm going to Thanksgiving at my cousin's house. So we'll have my second Thanksgiving. So I'm feeling really good. So life is good. I'm happy to report. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out, friends. Thank you for being so wonderful in the chat. And thank you for being so kind and patient with me. Also, remember to be that kind and that patient with yourself, right? Remember to give yourself the same grace that you've given me to be wrong and express myself and think things through and change my mind. You've given me that grace today, and always remember to give yourself that same grace. All right. Thank you so much, friends. Have a wonderful Saturday. I'll talk to you guys again. Enjoy your holiday. Bye.